Hi folks, how you doing? Very happy Christmas to you all. I'm looking at a Triple M here. Yeah, Christmas Day, but I'm still looking at things. I've actually been looking at this for a couple of days. It's a later revision Triple M, which means a little bit of a pain because it doesn't match the schematics. It's got a 6116 here instead of your two normal 5101s. And it can go to 2764s, whereas the original Triple M that I've seen the schematics for would only go to 2732s. So, a little bit of a pain. This one has got some pretty nasty damage. All the traces running about this area were all eaten away, cleaned them up, but not much left of it, which means the reset circuit is basically destroyed, and it has a rather more catastrophic problem where the AC neutral trace has blown out and shorted on the back. When the owner of this board plugged it in, he got a bright flash from the back of the board and a puff of smoke. And that's all I got, and it's probably that neutral trace burning out. But I'm only using it with 12 volt power supply, so I'm not going anywhere near the AC neutral line. I can power it up safely. Now, when I was doing my test ROM for Procon Plus, the Procon test ROM that I showed off on video lately, I first started by writing a bit of code for Triple M, because the I/O ports on Triple M just use the standard set of ports on the Z80. It doesn't use any of the convoluted addressing that Procon does. But that was written on a 2716, which won't work on this board. Shouldn't work on this board. However, if you know the pinouts of things and you know how to work out memory map, you can pretty much get any ROM working anything. So what I've done here is I've got my 2716 test ROM up in the front part of a socket, just like you would do with a ROM programmer. And I have a 6116 RAM. It's actually a 6264, but you get the idea. In socket 2, because the program wants to see the RAM on the second decade of the memory map. Now, like I said, reset's totally destroyed, but where's my reset button? Ignore that noise. Hit the reset trace. There we go. So what I've done there to make that work is I've just... This goes on socket 2, and then I've tied the read light line over to the 6116 where it is. And basically all that's doing is it's cycling the inputs and outputs. Well, not the inputs, I haven't got them programmed. Didn't get around to that. I started writing the program ROM instead. Can give this out to anybody who needs it. Righty, that's enough of that. So, when I first powered it up, I've got the original ROMs here for the board, the 22764s. When I first powered it up on these ROMs, I was getting lots of random weirdness, and it was freezing after a few seconds. So I put my test ROM on it and worked out all this, and then powered it up, and what I was getting was that initial tone you hear, only the first part of it would play, then I was just getting a steady tone. So, and then after a few seconds I get another, it would loop back around and I get the steady tone again. A tiny wee bit of the rising sound and then steady tone. So I checked it with a probe and the NMI line was firing by itself. So I discovered down here there's a few traces missing around about this area, so I've just done a wee wire link there to tie the NMI to a pull-up resistor. I'm going to need the actual schematics for this later revision board so I can see where the NMI goes. On the original Maygay it goes nowhere. It just goes to a capacitor to pull the NMI low when the power is removed from the board. I have no idea where it goes in this one. But even with that linked, you see it down there, it's just a wee link. It's actually a resistor leg. And this resistor here ties directly over to pin 24 of the RAM, so I could possibly leave it like that, because what's going to happen here is anytime the RAM voltage dies off, NMI gets pulled low and the processor stops. But even with that tied, the ROM was only running for a few seconds and then it would freeze. And you can't reset out of it. When you try and reset, the program doesn't reinitialize. What I also noticed is, every time it freezes, when you power down, power back up, the length of time it will run for is shorter, and then it'll freeze again, and then it'll freeze again, and then power it down, back up, it's even shorter, power down, back up, and shorter. And it keeps getting shorter and shorter and shorter until it doesn't run at all. And like I say, sorry about the shaking, you can't reset out of it. So, I was wondering at first whether I had problems with the NMI or I had problems with the reset, but without that wee link there, the NMI is totally disconnected and the reset's totally disconnected anyway. I think it's got something to do with these 4 transistors, but like I said, it's all the traces are totally destroyed there. I've got some wire links under the board, but whatever, I'm digressing a bit. But what I found, I was a bit suspicious of that NMI firing by itself, so I socketed and replaced the processor. I've got my German clone in there now, which runs quite a thing. I do have a Toshiba one that could fit in, and I do have an SGS Thompson one that could fit in. But what I noticed when I took this original processor out, and it's just as I said, oh, focus you bugger. Focus is a wee bit funny now, hold on. That'll do. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Now, well, you get the idea. It's a ZA. But I turned it over. And it's burnt under a pin at the bottom. Ignore that pin 17 being missing. I cut that off. You cut that off, the program sort of runs, but it, like I say, got the freezing. But we're burnt on it. Don't know if you can see under there, but we're burnt under those pins. Just there. That's not debris on the chip. It's not flux or anything. That's actually a burn on the surface of the chip. It's a blister. A wee bit rusty as well, but it's a shame we couldn't save it. So, what I think's happened, the ROMs are okay, by the way. Check them. They appear to be fine. I've replaced that RAM because the original was basically a green mess. But what I think happened was, when that AC line shorted out, before it blew open, it bumped a line on the CPU. And the CPU was exposed to the higher voltage just enough to cause a bit of damage, but not enough to completely kill it. I think that's an address line that burns sitting under. But yeah, with that German CPU and it works. Now, like I said, this isn't fixed. Got to do something about that AC neutral line to give you an idea how badly blown out that is. There's the upper half of it, that's all that's left. And if you turn the board over, it's supposed to track along here. It goes through that via, up in there, through that via, back out. There's a hole in the trace underneath. Those two traces there, totally eaten by the battery, but they're just, well, they look like data lines, but I'm not too sure. I know that that trace that's going around that way is actually the end of my trace. I've got it tied with a jumper on the back, but I can't find the other end of where it goes. But hopefully, I'm going to need the schematics for this one. It's going to be impossible to work out by myself. Or, alternatively, there's a lot of empty real estate there. We could take all this off and then put some sort of modern replacement in there for the reset. I don't know if that would fully work or not, but for the minute, I'm talking to the owner now. So far as the core system goes, address decoding and IO selection, everything like that, it's working. We just need to get all of its various issues resolved and do something with this, so it's fully working. Alright. Oh, yeah, again, I do apologise for the shaking. Let's see if we can see this a bit better. Yeah, look there. Big burn blister right through it. So, definitely got bumped by something. There we go. SGS Thompson, original Z80. Bit rusty, but... oh well. Pin for that. Right. Hope you enjoyed this little snippet video, and yeah, I do have that ROM saved on my PC. I will make it available for you. It runs without having to do any mods at all on a original Maygay board because it just accesses the two 5101 RAMs. With this one, like I said, it's for the benefit of techies. If you want to use it in one of these later boards, you have to put the RAM here. You can use 6116 up to the front of the socket, or you can use the 6264 for the full length of the socket. ROM wise, it doesn't care at all what size ROM you use. I've also got the code here on a 2764. It works just the same. The only thing the program cares about is where in the memory map you put the RAM, and it needs it for this little test routine. It needs it in the second 8K of the RAM. The second 8K of the memory map, sorry. So it needs it there. Right. I am signing off. Have an excellent Christmas. There might be more videos to follow. I don't know. If anybody's got the schematics for this revision of Triple M, I'd very much like to see them, because there's quite a few things we need to fix on this. And if anybody wants to do this themselves, I'll just show you that briefly. You just need to connect ground, 15 volts, a sound output, and the 14.5 volts there. You don't need any of the AC supplies, and you don't need any of the other supplies, the lamp supplies, whatever. You don't want to run it on the bench with the high voltage supplies on it. That would be bad, especially with battery damage. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas night, folks. Don't get too bored with the Christmas telly, and I'll see you again soon.